Stick to the frequency that amplifies these voices, stories, and reports that make the difference. This is Akojopo News, 88.7 FM.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Akojopo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Good evening, welcome to the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Akojopo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Bowale Akinbode. First, the headlines. NERC raises alarm over rising electricity-related accidents, deaths. Oyo government meets estate agents to tackle rent commission extortion. United Kingdom Prime Minister says it will not yield to President Donald Trump's pressure over Greenland. United States set to quit World Health Organization. Liverpool Sea of Marseille to close on Champions League last 16. Now the details. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has raised the alarm over the rising cases of electricity-related accidents and deaths in the power sector, linking most of the fatalities to human error arising from poor technical skills and inadequate training. The warning was issued today at a one-day stakeholders engagement with the Nigerian electricity supply industry on enhancing vocational training delivery for the power sector, organized by the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria. Speaking on behalf of the Commission, Mr. Joseph John said that massive investment in power infrastructure would amount to wasted resources if they were not matched with deliberate development of skilled manpower to operate and maintain them. Mr. John also stressed that while the Commission remained focused on expanding generation capacity and stabilizing the electricity system, human capacity remained the backbone of a reliable power supply. The Oyo State government has held a stakeholder engagement with members of the Estate Rent and Commission Agents Association to curb rising cases of rent and commission extortion, reiterating its commitment to protecting tenants and sanitizing the housing sector across the state. The State Commissioner for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Akinfunmilayo Williams, while hosting the leaders of the association in his office, said the activities of house agents need to be regulated, noting that while the government cannot dictate the amount property owners charge as rent, such practices can be regulated by law. Honorable Akinfunmilayo explained that the association was invited to the meeting to rub minds and find a lasting solution to the issue, while charging the association to come up with a clear position, which will be forwarded to the State House of Assembly for further engagement, as the Assembly expressed the view that a law regulating the activities of estate agents will soon be enacted. In his remarks, the chairman of the Oyo State Estate Rent and Commission Agents Association, Honorable Kekunle Muthau, commended the state government, noting that most of the present government policies have positively supported their operations, further urging the government to support the association and flushing out such unscrupulous elements from its ranks. The Oyo State House of Assembly has confirmed the nomination of Honorable Ademola Adenike as Commissioner in the State Executive Council. This was after adoption of the screening report by the Committee on Special Duties, presented by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Abiodun Fadeyi. Akojopo FM News correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele was at the plenary held at the hallowed chambers of the Oyo State House of Assembly. Here is the report.
During a recent cabinet reshuffling, Governor Makinde named the Senior Special Assistant on Public Works, Honorable Ademola Adenike, as a commissioner designate, subject to screening by the Oyo State House of Assembly. Today, the Chairman Committee on Special Duties and the Deputy Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Abiodun Fadiyi, while presenting the report, said the confirmation is in pursuant of Section 192 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Assistant on the environment for 5 years. The position he held until the commencement of Committee to 2.0, when the executive governor appointed him as Senior Special Assistant SSE to the Excellency on Public Works. This position he held until his nomination as Commissioner Designate. As a result, oriented professional Mr. Ademola Adenike, with over 18 years of experience in delivering complex infrastructure.
The Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adebo Ogundoyin, while speaking, charged the nominee to be diligent and remain focused in pursuing the tasks ahead of him.
So the motion of the move that duly seconded that this committee reports be received and then the recommendation be accepted and approved, which has the implication that the commissioner designates Ademola Adenike be confirmed as the commissioner in Oyo State. Those in favor of this motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Also at the plenary, the lawmakers appealed to the Oyo State government to strengthen the Oyo State Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Agency to improve its effectiveness and impact in addressing gender-based violence in the state. This was during the presentation of the report by the Joint Committee on Women Affairs and Community Development and Public Relations, Petitions, Justice and Judiciary by the Honorable Representing Ibadan North Constituency 1, Honorable Comforter Olajide.
Section 7 of the law be amended to ensure that the administrative office of the agency is relocated to Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Inclusion for effectiveness and administrative convenience.
The lawmakers also commended Governor Seyi Makinde for the establishment of the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Agency in the state. Oluwapemi Bamidele, Agidigbo FM News.
A public affairs analyst, Comrade Femi Babalola, has urged security agencies to investigate alleged reports of politicians buying permanent voters card PVCs from citizens, saying it undermines the electoral process and can lead to voter suppression. Speaking on Agidigbo FM's show Konwa today, Comrade Babalola emphasized that anyone found culpable should be exposed and punished according to the law, stating that buying or selling PVCs is a crime.
Which means that those who are perpetrating that evil, they are the politician that has been affiliated, or perhaps they are in that area. And in one way or the other, anyone that is found culpable should be treated according to the law. Government and the entire populace should do everything possible to discourage that. Buying voters card means that we are selling our power, we are selling our future. When the purpose of a thing is done, no, abuse is inevitable. So say Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe.
Comrade Babalola attributed the practice to citizens' lack of awareness about the value of their PVCs, intensified by poverty and poor orientation, noting that educating citizens about the importance of their PVCs is key to preventing such acts. However, Comrade Femi Babalola stressed that educating ordinary citizens about democracy benefits would help them appreciate their PVC's value, enabling informed choices about their governance. A renowned dentist, Dr. Mohammed Anima Shaun, has maintained that good oral hygiene has evolved beyond brushing of teeth, flossing and dental checkups, emphasizing a comprehensive approach to prevent dental diseases and promote overall oral health. The World Health Organization (WHO) had reported that oral diseases affect approximately 3.7 billion people worldwide, with common issues including tooth decay, lost gum diseases, and oral cancer, which is the 13th most common cancer globally. Speaking with Agidigbo FM News correspondent Dr. Anima Shanwa highlighted that oral hygiene boosts confidence, emotional well-being, and tackles bacteria using mouth odor.
Symptoms that you can always see in the mouth of that kind of patient. So when the person go for oral hygiene regularly, the dentist will be able to pick up those things, and then they will be able to guide them appropriately on time. And another importance of taking care of our oral health is that it boosts our confidence. Imagine you are talking in public, you are having a missing tooth, or maybe you have plaque and calculus accumulation. It can actually affect your confidence. And also, the way you eat, the way you masticate, and the way you talk. If you are not having proper dentition, it will affect your mastication.
However, Dr. Anima Shao noted barriers like limited access to oral care products, financial constraints, and low prioritization hinder good oral hygiene, leading to suboptimal practices despite people's desire to improve. And now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kuniamza Studio, Agidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer promised not to yield to Donald Trump's pressure on Greenland. Starmer reiterated his stance on the future of Greenland and stated that Trump's threats to impose tariffs on countries that oppose him are completely wrong. He was speaking at Prime Minister's Questions Forum, where he was pressed by the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch on recent comments from Donald Trump, who promised to impose 10% tariff on European countries that oppose his plan to take over Greenland. Although the Conservative leader agreed with Keir Starmer on the issue of Greenland, but urged the Prime Minister to scrap the UK's plan to hand over the Chagos Island to Mauritius. US President Donald Trump said he has formed the framework of a future deal on Greenland. Speaking after a meeting with the NATO chief, Mark Rutte, Trump said new tariffs are no longer needed on European nations that oppose his ambition. He also ruled out using military forces to acquire Greenland as he doubled down on his demand for control of the island. However, the decision to suspend these threatened tariffs on European allies was welcomed by Swedish Deputy Prime Minister, who insisted that the crisis involving the US and NATO has not yet been averted. And that ends the news from Kuniamza Studio at Gidigbo FM. United Kingdom, I am Olushola.
Welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya. U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday launched his Board of Peace, initially designed to cement Gaza's rocky ceasefire, but which he foresees taking a wider role, worrying to other global powers, although he said it will work with the United Nations. Trump, who will chair the board, invited dozens of other world leaders to join, saying he wants it to address challenges beyond the stuttering Gaza ceasefire, stirring misgivings that it could undermine the U.S. role as the main platform for global diplomacy and conflict resolution. Trump says permanent members must help fund with a payment of $1 billion each, and the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the board's focus would be on making sure the plan for peace in Gaza was fulfilled, but that it could also serve as an example of what's possible in other parts of the world. The U.S. is due to officially exit the World Health Organization (WHO) on Thursday in the face of warning it will eat both U.S. health and global health, and also in violation of a U.S. law that requires Washington to pay the UN Health Agency $260 million in fees that it owes. President Donald Trump gave the notice that the U.S. would quit the organization on the first day of his presidency in 2025 via an executive order. Under U.S. law, it has to give 1 year notice and pay all outstanding fees before departure. On Thursday, a U.S. State Department spokesperson said the WHO's failure to contain, manage, and share information had cost the U.S. trillions of dollars, and the president had exercised his authority to pause the future transfer of any U.S. government funds, support, or resources to the WHO. And that is the news from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Sonya.
Welcome back now to the exciting world of sport. Liverpool FC took a big steps towards automatic qualification for the Champions League last 16 on Wednesday as Mohamed Salah returned in a 3-0 victory at Marseille. Salah made his first start for Liverpool since November after being dropped by the bench by slot before helping Egypt reach the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON semi-finals. The Reds started brightly at the Velodrome with Joe Gomez missing a chance to end his long wait for a maiden senior goal when he headed a corner wide. Salah passed up a glorious opportunity to score his first club goal in 7 matches late on, but substitute Gakpo did grab Liverpool's third on the night in the last minute of injury time. The Reds will now hope to continue their winning streak when they play away from home to Bournemouth this weekend in the English Premier League Matchday 23 fixtures. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. NERC raises alarm over rising electricity-related accident deaths. Oyo government meets estate agent to tackle rent commission extortion. United Kingdom Prime Minister says he will not yield to President Donald Trump's pressure over Greenland. United States set to quit World Health Organization. Liverpool see off Marseille to close on Champions League last 16. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. No matter how many mistakes you make or how slow you progress, you are still way ahead of everyone who isn't trying. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Bowale Akimbode. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State government has said the over 1.5 million out of school children.
We give you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
The Southwest in Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice.